Hello and welcome back to Dicing with Death.
Hello.
Your army is ready. Right?
Is it though? Is the army ever ready?
You've got a lot of improvised weapons, sticks, clubs, staves, other bones. But they're all armed in some capacity.
Yeah. And armored in rabbit fur. Rotting rabbit fur mostly.
I think you're probably at the point where you're out of like armor for new skeletons that would be raised. You know, I think you've like gone through all of your furs and leathers and hides and
Can we
things.
say that? Okay, wait. The warriors. Oh, I've got warriors with leather. Okay, so I think all of the warriors then are probably like they've been wrapped, I would guess, in hides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rotting.
I think so.
They're in various states of repair. I mean, some of it properly tanned, but a lot of it is.
Some of them are fairly
mismatched.
raw.
They've got a stench to them. But Lilith goes amongst the dead and blesses them with her herbs. I don't know if they've all got like rosemary dangling in their rib cages.
A little bit here, a little bit there. I don't think there's enough rosemary in the world to cover the stench of this large collection.
Oh, we've been preparing for this for generations.
Generations.
And the
Well,
the army of the dead has been waiting for years.
Quietly waiting underground for their time to rise.
Is it ready?
Well, Lucifer, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? There are so many options laid out before you.
I don't think we take Pine Spur directly at this point. But if we can split off a company, we can Right, it's only a matter of time before we threaten them militarily. But is there anything we want to do in the interim? Or maybe pull them out of position? Who are these Corvals?
They're just one of the houses nearby.
Was that the drunken knight that showed up in Winter's Reach?
Was he a Corval or a Lorwyn?
That knight is probably reanimated in the standing out on the lawn as a skeletal warrior. Maybe not. His body get misplaced. In any case, I think that's who the Corvals were.
Yeah, it was Kel.
I don't think we had a
Corval.
particular beef with it, but they're a new.
They're one of those Eridonian houses, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so we're at full strength. I think we're going to go on the march. So Malsfer is going to take this new company of skeletons and, head out. We'll take the warriors with us, but there is a cadre. Is that the word I'm looking for? I've only ever read it. C-A-D-R-E. Is that a thing I'm looking for? There's a cadre of undead warriors at Winter's Reach still. Oh, there's a whole. I've got to consolidate.
Cadre.
It was my pronunciation. Not my pronunciation was
Cadre.
fine then.
Cadre.
That's
Cadre.
really creepy. Please stop. I'm going to combine my. I guess not all of these skeletons have. So there's 58 with leather. I'll just combine them. All the skeletons have baseline HP.
Yeah.
So I'll recombine. I've actually got
155. Woo! That is a lot of skeletons.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. So there's those skeletons. And then all of these skeletal warriors. There's the 13 skeletal knights, archers, spearmen, the mage. This is an army.
Yes.
Got this ghoul assassin that I think I'll take with. take this poltergeist out for a spin. So
I'm counting 243 skeletons in this mix right here.
Yeah, let me do some spreadsheeting. What are we going to call this army? Or company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Company. We're starting up an LLC. How about a skeletal LLC?
Skeletal LLC. I love it. I love it.
All right, skeletal co. And then we'll set this equal to, which one do I want? I'm gonna take the skellies and the warrior. Ooh. Don't want those zombies, but let's see. Sure, we'll throw in the skeletal horses. Oh, and value. What is going on here? Oh, some.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want those zombies in there, but they're the Janet and Jimmy zombies. Yeah,
right, well, you did 5
250. So that's like so 2 company.
Close.
I don't know how we want to denote that on the map, but I want a big fat token to drag around.
I will give you
there's
a big fat token.
There's still 56 skeletons in the hedges.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies in the woods, all those zombie monsters. I think they're too slow to move with the main army, but they probably follow behind because that's where the good eats are going to be, right? I guess we'll see. And this ghoul assassin can move at normal movement rate, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he'll hang around with me. The new poltergeist ought to be fun. Yeah, high con would have been a good call. I didn't have enough to get bonus HP, so it wouldn't really have mattered. I guess I could have put it 15 into con. I don't know how I wound up at 7 con.
Well, here you are.
Here I am. Next time, put it in the patch notes. Because I'm already really tanky, actually. Mm-hmm. Between the spirit armor and decent HP. Now I've got this body double poltergeist with my axe. Is that your intention for the poltergeist, to use it in combat, or
no? For me, I always thought of it as like a lab assistant.
Oh yeah, really. Mm-hmm. And here I am marching a 16 HP poltergeist off to war.
Yeah, I mean it has 5 strength. It can interact with the world, right. But it doesn't really wield weapons.
At -1 to hit for like 1d2 -1 damage.
It can just like push and pull. I don't think it can like
probably
claw.
Like, do things like you can walk up to the fighter and like draw his sidearm and just drop it on the ground, kind of things, right? Like
that sort of thing.
Moves.
Yeah. Push a rock off of a cliff. That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're off. What do we got here?
Where do you want to go?
The Black Flag of Winter is going to sail east. So I want to ride through. I don't know if march through Aemon's Watch, right? This abandoned village, and see what remains of this one. We've been here before since the people fled, I think. Mm-hmm. Did we set up watch? I think this was one of the first places we commanded the hunters to patrol. Right?
Well, yeah, they've been patrolling this whole section right here.
Needs more watchtowers. That's what I'll. So I'll with the army in tow, under strict command to march rank and file. And ignore any outlying villagers that may not be marked.
Sure.
Malsfer will suggest from are we on an elk back?
I believe.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, we'll suggest to the lumberjacks and hunt to make watchtowers here if they aren't already. Is that a thing we did last time? I don't remember.
You did not make watchtowers. If you would like
Lord,
to...
the Lord, seeing his countryside, decrees that there ought to be watchtowers. It'll probably be a while before that happens, and it may require follow-up.
You'll have to send in your carpenters to make that. Your skeletons aren't very good constructioners. Yeah. At least not these skeletons. Higher level.
Are there structure? Is there still a village here, or has it been like burned to the ground? Like
it has not been burned. It has been sacked and looted, but it's still intact in many ways.
Yeah, but I'm sure its fields lie fallowed and.
I mean, they've only been abandoned for a month or so at this point.
Yeah, we don't have the people to.
You don't have the manpower to harvest them. Your skeletons aren't competent
we've got enough to sustain our living. We can herd. Well, there's zombies. We can have marked people can herd goats and stuff out here in the plains, right?
Oh yes.
We got plenty. We'll be. There's only 250. That's the realization that's coming to me. Out of character. What this PC has wreaked havoc on the landscape. There's now only 200. I guess so. Every living person is pretty much on the spreadsheet at this point, right?
Yes.
There's still plenty of NPCs to meet, right? It goes to show how few NPCs you really need to have a campaign. Right, I've only got about 15 categories here, so 247 people. We just started with 250. It sounds like we haven't had any births in the last.
Not in the last 90 days, no.
And a whole lot of death.
Yeah.
Hey, we're at war. So those Corvals are
Eridonian.
Are they an Eridonian family? Right? Did they bend the knee, or were they just like some?
Oh no, they got They were part of the conquering families that helped take over Gadia, and then were given a plot of land right near the ocean.
Yeah, and that drunken knight did stumble in. Right, that was same house. Seems a befitting curse, right? A drunken son commits a
crime for which his family must pay.
And the curse comes sweeping back in the form of an undead army. That seems as good a target as any.
It doesn't sound like a curse to me. It sounds like something very appropriate. It sounds like divine retribution.
There's nothing divine about this force. So it probably takes a few days. They don't need to. Malsfer's the only living one amongst this army, right?
Yes.
And I'm thinking at its center, 250 is a sizable number of troops.
That is a lot. Do you have 250?
Yeah, that's what we're marching with. That's not even yeah.
Yep.
And I think we've got the zombies sort of like trailing behind. They'll probably be like a day behind even at this point, right? But once
you're bringing Janet and Jimmy with you, so yeah, they're.
Oh no, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to. But I meant the zombie monsters. Let me.
Okay, the other zombies, the regular zombies or the zombie monsters. Zombie monsters.
Yeah, but they're too slow to keep up with the main army.
Right.
So yeah, but
they'll be trailing behind, catching
once
any.
The scent of blood is on the air, the soul eater will come a following. Pick up the pieces. So we want to. 247? Is that?
Yeah, 247 without the zombos, without Janet and Jimmy.
Oh, and including this ghoul assassin. I need more ghouls.
Well, you need some more bodies for that, and probably some more years. I imagine you're getting sort of low on years. What are you at?
I got 100 and something.
Oh, okay, you're fine.
The necromancer leading this army is a young, vibrant lordling. And so I guess we can just kind of march through the night. It's probably, if anything, Mousefer will need to stop and sleep.
You will need to stop and sleep before
on
they...
elk back, right?
Yeah, it's a 20-mile journey to the Corval estate, which is probably through the woods going to be like a day and change. So do you leave during the day, or do you leave at night? Whoa, do you hear that noise? Hold on, I'm getting crazy amounts of static from something. Ryan, do you hear this? No, you're... Okay, I can't hear you, but I'm getting crazy static from you. From what I think is your mic. That's better. Okay, it's gone. Woo! Yeah.
I don't know. That was super weird.
Okay, it's gone now.
It's gone now.
Weird tech stuff. It happens. Let's not worry about it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We're all good.
You really ought to run me through a filter or something. Did that go? I didn't hear anything on this end.
Yeah, I have no idea what the cause was. I do have a compressor on you, so it won't peak too loudly for chat. I get the full brunt of the sound.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, let me turn our music back on and everything. Where were we? Where were we? Here we are. Okay.
Did you hear them? The winter gods. They were
They're
reaching
trying
out
to speak. They're trying to speak to us. Run away. All right. So you're invading the Corval estate, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if it's sustainable to just to like outright destroy them, but I think we're gonna march the army through the Corval estate, pick up some souls, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the word to confiscate some Eridonian souls, right, for when you walk in, take possession of.
They too must pay the tax for living in this area.
Something like that.
Far too long have they not paid their taxes, and now they shall pay them with their lives. So, do you move out during the day or the night?
That's what I think. Arriving during the undercover of darkness would probably be strategically most advantageous. I think we'll march in the morning. Yeah, leave in the morning.
Okay.
And then we first went to Eamon's Watch, right?
Right.
Set up there.
And the place is abandoned. The fields are untended.
Yeah, maybe we do a day there and mouse for rests, and then we keep moving. So maybe we can just think how many days this army can move, right? It moves at movement rate 12?
Yep. 12, yeah, your speed. You're the slowest one in the army.
Through the woods, so I feel like it would ordinarily... Okay, so 12 miles through the woods, right? It would be 24 on like open terrain or on a road.
Right.
Yeah, so we do like one day to Eamon's Watch, and then it will be another day to the Corval estate.
Yeah, but let's take a quick look here, because as you're coming through this area, through Aemon's Watch to the Corval Estate, you're gonna basically clip through these two other baronies.
Yeah. So
are you going to avoid them, or are you gonna?
No. So that's a good point. So if I maybe have some checks to see if like there are scouts on the edge. So I think what is going on is the army is marching a more or less, I mean, a path more or less that way. So we're clipping through them, right? So there's maybe scouts will spot us, maybe we'll spot scouts.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Yeah.
You know that
maybe villagers will spot, you know, the rank and file of a skeletal horde.
You know that the town or the village in this nearby barony right here is right in this corner, right at the coast. So it would be, you know, it'd be like a mile detour to go take a look at that village, at most.
But yeah, let's do that. So we can like send an army marching and move on ahead. How quickly do I move on Elkback? Right, it was like 12. So that's not quick at all. Skeletons move at 14, right?
Yeah, but they'll keep pace with you.
What about a skeletal horse? I have 3 of those. So if I put myself and 2 blood knights on skeletal horses, we can sort of zip off while the army marches. Yeah, and make a 3-mile detour.
Skeletal, warrior, greater, specialist, mage, commander. We don't have skeletal horse here.
The skeletal mage can stay on the elk.
Oh.
He'll stay with the main army, sure.
Right. So I think maybe all the skeletons move at 14. I think that makes sense. The skeletal horses and the elk and everything, they all move at 14.
Oh, okay, so we can't go faster on the. You're making me need my nightmare. Skeleton, greater, special. Oh yeah, you don't even have separate stat blocks for the other skeletons.
Right.
So. What level do I need to be to make a nightmare?
7, I think.
Oh, that's next level.
Is it 7? 7 is where you get your zombie nightmare, your skeletal specialist, and 8 is where you get your revenant. But we're not going to talk about that for now.
So slow.
I mean, you got to level 6 in 90 days, right?
No, I mean my movement speed.
Oh, your movement speed, yeah. So I
guess I can move at
14 on. Do you take the army with you to scout out that location, that town?
I was thinking if I just took a smaller party, I could investigate faster, but I don't think that's the case.
It's not.
The army moves as fast as anything, and we just. But I don't want to be spotted. So maybe.
If only you had a way that you could visit places without having to be seen. If only you could possess a ghost or a shade.
Yeah, the shade is back at the estate, right?
Unfortunate. Looks like you'll have to do it the hard way. So?
Yeah, so I think we'll scout it out the old fashion. So while the army marches on, I've got no way of catching up, short of like jogging.
You just tell them to wait for you.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait here for. It's only a mile out of the way, you said, right?
Yeah. It's not far at all.
And let's just get eyes on that village.
Well, you do get eyes on the village if you push for it.
So I'll take just a smaller group of skeletal warriors, just so we're less likely to be spotted.
And
I don't want to go solo. That's dumb. I'll take the 13 skeleton knights and approach through the woods.
Okay. You find the village empty. The fields have been harvested to their fullest extent and then burned. The village is not destroyed, but all the valuables have been ripped out and pulled out. Anything of practical use is gone. But the village and its estate stand empty.
I think in that case I will divert the army, and if it appears to be abandoned, we'll just sort of sweep through this region. So I guess for that day, we'll march the army to the coast. So this is day 2 now. I think I think to divert and all that, it seems fair to just move basically to the coast by nightfall.
That's fine. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I guess I'll accompany with them. I wanted to, if I spot any hunters, I would like to alert them. But if not, we may need to message them later. And then we'll, I guess, move into this one and see if it's the same.
You move on to the next one that day or that night?
I think this will be a day 3.
Day 3?
Leaving Winter's Reach. Yeah.
What happened? What was day 2 spent doing?
It was day 1 to Eamon's Watch, day 2 around the whatever that bend is, and to the abandoned village.
Okay, and day 3 over here.
Yeah.
Excellent. Day 3 comes, and you give me a perception check. Let's see how this goes. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. You spot
the first roll of the night. Dang, we're off to a slow start.
Yeah. You spot what appears to be a small collection of scouts or something. It's a pair of riders sitting on horseback, sort of walking through the woods, but they're having a conversation about this girl and this guy that they know in town, that there's some sort of like romantic tryst going on between the two of these people, and the two scouts are gossiping about this like petty romance. And you can hear their voices as you move through the like thick forest in this region before you even spot them. So you can like come to a stop and hear this conversation about how Gideon and Laura have been like seeing each other behind everyone's back, and Gideon's engaged, and Laura's dad has sort of promised her to this other guy, and they're like super into each other, and they've been like trying to figure out how they can keep this tryst going even after their supposed marriages will take effect.
Unlike this mortal prattle, the Army of Winter does not chit-chat or gossip. So the undead horde descends upon them silently. And I think maybe roll a surprise check, but catching these guys unaware, the bursting, is it day or night?
It is, well, you tell me, when did you want to leave? It's been a few hours since you left the last village. You could be leaving at day or at night.
I don't think the time really matters. I think it's more just a matter of how comfortably can you push your necromancer.
So
he's the only living thing here.
Right, so you tell me when you want to go. You could have left at any point.
I think it's more what distance into the day it is. So it's okay. It's probably by day.
Yeah. Okay.
There's light bursting out of the trees. Skeleton. Are you going to roll a surprise check?
I've already.
I mean, it seems pretty.
You've spotted them before they've spotted you, but they passed their perception check. So if the moment you come around the bend to see them, they will spot you. They won't be surprised. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah.
And I think
so. We should roll for initiative, I think, is what we do.
Yeah.
All right.
Flat D10? Or...
Flat D10. Let's do it. They get a 3.
So they win
they
initiative.
See the skeletons and Malcifer stepping out from behind this thick foliage, kick their horses and bolt in the opposite direction.
Oh, they had horses.
Yeah, they were sitting on horses.
Archers, fire! And I'm guessing we can get at least one round of bow shots as they retreat.
Sure, probably at some sort of cover, because of the thick
Range,
foliage.
yeah. I mean, so this is a contingent of 20 archers.
Sure.
Probably on average some distance away, right? With cover,
Yeah.
on the other side of these trees.
So I think we're gonna say maybe concealment, 50% concealment, because there's bushes and stuff, but that's not gonna really block arrows.
Yeah.
So penalty of 2 for concealment, and if they're at medium range, 2 for that as well. I don't know if they are at medium though.
So
Something in that ballpark. They have 13 AC from their leather armor, but their backs are to you.
and I will roll 20d20. I don't know what the bonus or penalty is here, but there's at least a couple of hits.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hits and 2 crits. So why don't we say 3? Why don't we say 5d6 at each of them? 5d6 for one and 5d6 for the other.
Or that many? Oh God, there's not even.
God.
Their
No.
souls are wasted.
The horses and the riders are peppered with arrows. They
there's horses
hit
too.
the ground like a sack
The
of
horses
potatoes.
soak up some of that. There's a chance that these guys will still be alive by the time Mousefer reaches them next round.
There is a chance.
Or maybe
No.
their soul's still around in the air somewhere.
They rolled poorly. They did not make it. By the time you get to them, they are very dead. Their horses might still be alive, but I don't think you can absorb horse souls.
But you can raise skeletal warriors with the horse. These guys weren't leveled, were they?
Nope.
They were on a horseback, so they were just like messengers.
They were scouts, yeah. They're not warriors. They have no weapons on them.
Mm-hmm. I can ride their horse and double my movement rate.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're a little
But
spooked.
their horses are I don't know if their horses are even alive. Maybe, probably. Let's see. Ooh, the first horse has 11 HP. The second horse has 15 HP. So it's possible that one of them is still alive. Yeah.
Does it? Does a ghoul require a year HP? How recently does the body have to be prepared?
For what?
Like, it's got to be a fresh corpse, right?
For
Make it
ghouls?
cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, these are fresh. These are just fresh enough.
And if I get 4, if I get a bargain, is that how, right? Do I need to collect 2 more before it's economical to raise booze?
Buy 3, get 1 free, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 1/4 HP. So these 2 you could raise with 1 HP and 2 souls.
And if I wait, I think it spoil. They spoil, right? I've got to raise. I should just raise the 2 right now.
You should just raise the 2 right now. Yeah.
Let's make ghouls. I think the horses. I don't know what happened to the horses. If we can capture them, they make great sacrifices. But unfortunately, we don't have any leveled warriors around.
One
So I'm
is
gonna
bleeding
drop
to death.
2
The
years.
other is probably fleeing at full speed away from the undead and the arrows that sting its rump.
2 years and 1 HP.
And you have 2
fresh
ghouls.
ghouls. I now have a total of 3.
Lovely.
I will welcome them.
Yes. Now,
You've made the right decision, boys, switching sides in this conflict.
ghouls have HP that gets rolled for rather than a flat amount, but let's not
Okay.
ever bother rolling for HP until they start taking damage, because it's just too much to track individual ghoul HP on a global scale, you know?
Okay. Ghouls roll, is it 1d8 or 2d8?
1d8 plus 5.
1d8 plus 5. Okay.
And they can regenerate missing HP when they consume corpses.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, corpse. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, bodies, corpses.
That ties into typical ghoul lore quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And they paralyze on hit, correct?
They paralyze for 1 round on hit. Yeah.
Yeah, you. That's much more balanced in the original 2E. It was just like they
20
for
minutes?
1 turn.
Yeah.
I think
10 minutes?
It was on the scale of turns, so it's just like okay.
So if you get touched by a ghoul and
save or get eaten alive by ghouls.
Yeah, it's rough.
Okay.
So, you've brought down the 2 scouts. You're marching on the village. You...
do I even know what village this is?
I'm sure you know its name.
Mm-hmm.
It's in one of those books somewhere. You're an educated man. You probably know the names of every one of these baronies about here. This one that you're entering into, we're going to call South Point.
Are these fellow Gadians oppressed under the heel of our Eridonian overlords, or are these...
All this over here is Eridonian settlements. This whole southern coast.
Fate is just edging Malsfer closer to conquest.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I think we roll into this. So we snuff out the scouts and descend on this village.
Yeah, the village is towards the back here. Probably this like really light patch, on the coast.
I guess it depends how much resistance they put up, because the command is now at march, so I don't think they're going to break and start chasing after and slaughtering the villagers. I think the villagers are going to scream and run, and maybe we'll make it to like a keep or something to attack. Maybe they'll try and fight us on the field, but I doubt they can raise a militia of any substance and time.
No, as you march into the village, you can see that. Let's see. Hold on. The scouts in the forest. No other scouts spot you before you arrive, and at some point you find yourself on the edge of the village. And exiting the woods where the fields are. There's pastures with cattle grazing. The town has a little bit of smoke rising from all the chimneys. The people are going about their days happily, not really knowing what's going on.
Yeah. Malsfer has by now realized it's just more comfortable to walk. So he's on foot, walking out in the fields, flanked by his ghouls, and looks, I guess, left and right at the now scores of skeletons. And I think we just move on through the field in through the town. And at some point, I think they'll spot us. Quite obviously, right? And I think I think we're going to move towards whatever seat of power there is here, right? So if there's like a town hall, or if there's like a lord's house or a keep, and I think we're just going to take it before they even have a chance to pull up a militia. So there may be a few house guards, town guards. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Well, you move on in.
That pull up pitchforks. I think if a skeleton, if it can walk by, they're walking, right? They're following their skelebros into battle. But if like someone happens to be within 1 round of chasing and murdering, I don't think they can suppress their skelly instincts.
Yeah.
But the object is not to attack these random villagers.
Well, when the villagers see you, the church bells begin to ring, the town is alerted, and they're ready for this. They've been mentally preparing for this invasion.
Ducking under their desks.
they duck and cover to avoid the skeletons. And they begin to flee. The villagers tend to just take off immediately. There is a small keep pressed against the sea. It has a wall around it, like the last one, a stone wall with Eridonian construction. There are watchtowers on the corners, and there are soldiers there, ready. Not a lot, but some.
Are they like on the walls of the keep that I...
By the time you get within good visual of the keep, there are soldiers on the walls. The bells in the town and the castle have been ringing for a little while. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think like something out of a horrible nightmare or a story they heard, this army of skeletons marches square up to the keep.
Mm-hmm.
Do they take arrow shots or do they conserve ammo?
The moment you are within range, they open fire.
Okay.
So are you going to siege the keep? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I think our numbers are such that I don't know how defensible the keep is, but I think with 150 skeletons, you just throw bodies at it until you run over the walls.
Yeah. There are a lot of defenders.
I kind of want to
here.
get into range and talk to whoever's in charge. Like maybe.
Okay.
Like if they just hand over, if they bend the knee and hand over sacrifices, that might be an arrangement. But it sounds like they're opening fire when we approach.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we just like set up this. I'm gonna queue up the skeletons outside of bowshot range of the keep.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe take a few pot shots as we find out where that range is, and then we're gonna just set up. You said it's built into the cliffs.
It's built against this coast. Yeah.
Are we not by now like here?
Yeah, that's definitely where you are, because the keep is right here at this edge.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make some rolls, some attack rolls for their archers. I'm gonna GM roll it. Ooh, that's too many. There we go. So your skeletons have. So at maximum range, there are 3 hits on your skeletons, which will do, well, insufficient because no one of these hits will kill an 8 HP skeleton.
I feel like I saw somewhere a suggestion to make the skeletons resistant to piercing damage. Is that what it was? So resistant to piercing, double damage from bludgeoning, and normal from slashing?
That's a reasonable argument to make.
So this campaign, I think mostly at my suggestion, because I thought it'd be cool to blow up zombie heads with clubs, is to do the double damage from bludgeoning and just like have full HP.
Mm-hmm. I think resistant to piercing.
I saw a viewer mentioned resistant to piercing, and I was like, that sounds perfect.
That is a reasonable thing to do.
So symmetrical, so balanced.
Mm-hmm. Nothing's OP here. Yeah, so the first few arrow shots land in and amongst your troops, and it'll take you a few minutes to march on them.
There's a shout of like hold from the necromancer
as the army just like wraps around the keep.
Yeah, right. And we bring our own archers within range. How far are we from the keep? So did they fire at medium range?
They started at long range with the first volley, and by the time so the first 2 volleys, one happens at long, one happens at medium. That's round 1, and then the round 2 would be you guys start at medium range. Let's see, the second volley has a lot of hits, and
so I guess we
probably
back
a few crits
into long range. So they're taking long range shots or medium range shots.
They took 1 at long and 1 at medium, and if you back into long, then that'll just be at long range.
Okay.
Yeah. And you said you wanted to go parlay?
Yeah, but I think so how many more shots are there? Do we lose any skeletons?
Let me just make some rolls. Okay. This is a lot. This is a few crits in this one. This is nothing. Alright. You lose 5 skeletons.
It's a
total.
Nasty volley.
It is a nasty few volleys. It's 2 rounds of combat, so 4 volleys total. And many of your skeletons are lightly wounded, but a few of them get like critted in the face and crumble.
How many? You said 5. Okay,
5
so we're
die.
going down to 150. And I think if that's the case, our archers will return at least a round or at least a volley at long range. This would be right.
Yep, that's where you wanted it to be.
Well, yeah, we accidentally found medium. We're dropped back to long. The bonus here is I'm just going to do is it 20 d20s or is it just 1 d20 at a company of dudes?
Let's do 20 d20 for now. We're not quite in mass combat siege warfare.
I should probably do like a greater than
probably, because they've got
15 or
cover
something.
behind parapets, which will give them 50%.
So I think we're. But these are warriors, so they get +4, right?
-4. So you need a 13 or better to hit them.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits and a crit.
5 hits and a crit. Yep.
5 d6s, so 66s. 26 damage.
Ooh,
so a couple of
any
dead
6
archers.
is gonna kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the 5s are maybe kills.
And Mousefer issues a command to a warrior nearby, or a group of them to gather the arrows and
That have been fired at you.
That have been fired at us, and gather our arrows and return them to the archers. So like all of them, they take shots, they die. We like back old as we like find the long range. And I think we'll wait them out actually here. Like if their archers want to take shots at us from long range, I think we'll, for a couple of minutes at least, we'll eat the shots and fire them back at them. As we gear up and take cover. This is just like a two-dimensional battle, right? They're up against a cliff.
Yep.
The ocean. Yeah.
Yep. Reduce, recycle, reuse, everybody. No, reduce, reuse, recycle. That's it.
And so in this way, Mousefer is going to feel out this fortress's defenses. Is it a stone keep?
It is stone. It's good Eridonian construction.
Yeah, with a wooden door.
Yes. And you can shout from long range, correct? What do you shout?
Yeah. The soldiers of winter knock on your door. You stand upon stolen land.
Do you have any white cloth or something that you can wave at them?
I don't think so. I don't think that's... Yeah.
It's not your way.
I think we're just yelling spooky things at them across a wall while we feel them out. So do they fire and they continue to fire volleys of arrows?
No, when you start shouting at them, and it's clear to them that they're just like picking up the arrows and firing them back at you, and the arrows, despite hitting skeletons, really aren't doing very much damage. They're just like grazing. The volleys temporarily stop, and a new head wearing a feathered cap appears on the parapets on the wall.
Yeah, I think Mousefer's calls were in Gadian, so to these men probably an incomprehensible tongue. Spooky arcane words. But they see the sight, the rank and file of undead chewing up the arrows they fire at them and spitting them back out. And amongst them a black commander.
This feathered, helmeted person takes it off, revealing a golden-haired woman, braided back, and kind of drapes over one shoulder. She calls out in Gadian to you. I am Serina. Who are you?
Trying to get a feel for the scale here. This is probably 300 yards, so this is a long ways of shouting, right? What stands between the wall and the town? Is it just
open terrain? Yeah, you are at about 140 yards.
Has the forest been cleared?
Yeah, because there you've got the keep against the sea, and then the village and the fields beyond that. So there's no terrain as a good proper keep has.
Yeah.
Clear line of fire.
Sorry, could you remind me what she said?
She introduced herself as Serina and asked who you are.
I am the Lord of Winter. And I think I repeat, she spoke Gadian?
She spoke it in Gadian.
Yeah. I respond in Eridonian just to throw her for a loop and maybe translate her so now the other soldiers finally hear it, no longer gibberish. Yeah. I am the Lord of Winter, and you stand on stolen land, for which no price had been paid.
This is the land of my father, of my mother, of my ancestors. Nothing has been stolen.
Lies. Excuse me. There's a ceasefire. Like they've stopped shooting arrows.
They have stopped shooting arrows.
Yeah, so all will have stopped. Our skeletons as well. Your fathers and mothers, and their fathers and mothers, and theirs upon theirs, took this land from my people.
She disappears from behind the wall, and a few moments later appears on horseback through the gates, flanked by 2 knights who are also on horseback, and they ride maybe, I don't know, 50 yards or so away from the keep, still well within like cover range of the walls and everything, but enough that, you know, it's an invitation for you to ride forward and speak without shouting. What do you do? Do you trust her enough to come parlay, or do you think that she's gonna unleash all of her archers the moment you step out?
I do not fear her arrows.
You don't, huh?
Famous last words. No, I'm thinking if I want to. Yeah. How many riders are come out?
It's her and 2 knights.
On horseback. Yeah. I think I continue to shout in Eridonian. Well, like in the minutes that it takes her to mount up and
Continue.
open the gate, approach. Yeah. Malsifer will say that a sacrifice is owed, a death tax upon this land. Do I even know the name of this village?
Southern. Ooh, what would we call it? Southern Watch. South Point. South Point is what it's called.
South Point. I don't know. South Point must pay in souls, and I think probably by now the riders are approaching. Malsifer flanked by skeletal warriors. Oh, actually, no, the ghoul. We've got the ghouls. The ghouls are following at my heels. I will walk out in no further than medium range to meet her.
Okay,
and I will
so
actually...
she's 50 yards away. If you're 140 from her, from the castle, so she comes out to 90 from you.
Closer than what's like is 120 yards? 60 yards is short range, right? So 180 feet.
Oops! Oh no! I lost my.
So I'll stop 200 feet from the castle from the castle wall.
Okay, and she is 150 feet from the castle wall, so you're about 50 feet from each other. Perfect shouting, talking distance, projecting distance.
Yeah.
And she responds to you saying, "I don't know what you mean by your lands. I was born here. These are my lands. These are my people."
Then do you choose your own soul to sacrifice? And I think the ghouls are kind of fanning out behind me. Like she comes out here with her envoy of knights, and I've got these abominations slathering and nipping at my heels.
It's just you and the ghouls.
I've got my poltergeist because I've got the Barda.
Right. The poltergeist she can't see because it's daylight, so it's basically invisible. Can it move?
The warriors are in the front, but I didn't want to put the warriors into. Yeah, can what move?
The poltergeist, because it's
like
ethereal.
It's like semi-ethereal. I think it's like in the Bardish right now. I could call it into material being, right? It's present, right? Isn't it always present?
Right, but it's an ethereal creature, so direct sunlight forces them to recall a projection from the material world or suffer damage. So it's probably like hiding inside of you and inside of your Bardish right now, and you could send it out.
We always talk about the Bardish case, right? I think when the Bardish is sheathed, can it, and maybe it needs to be wrapped in like a black cloth or something.
That'll work.
Right? To keep it out of sunlight, it can like hide underneath the blanket inside the Bardish.
Yes.
Yeah. So it takes like damage from direct sunlight?
Direct sunlight causes D8 damage per round.
Oh, that's rough. Now I need a better primary weapon.
It'll be fine.
I just fight at night. I mean, I kind of like the,
Yeah.
Anyways,
what sacrifice do you speak of?
Are close at hand. Yeah.
What sacrifice do you demand?
A death tax per annum. Soul's recompense. Your village may choose, or the gods may choose for you. You decide.
Can we not be reasonable? You command the undead. You have no need for lands, for fields, for food. What is it you want?
Only that which is mine. Only justice.
She does not seem super thrilled by this. She was hoping for a better negotiation, one that maybe some peace could be found. But you're asking for souls and her territory, and you're offering no
I don't
middle
know how
ground.
bright she is. I think the implication is that she could probably give us several of her villagers.
Yeah.
A year or whatever to be sacrificed, and we'll leave her and her keep be.
Yeah,
this
is
some
not
curse straight out of a. This could be a quest lead from the other side, right? Undead army shows up at your door, demands soul sacrifices for vague past wrongs committed.
Yeah, she's
Debts
not super
unpaid.
psyched about this. Why don't you give me a
Own collectors here
charisma
to
check?
collect. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, see if she takes your threat seriously.
She may take it as a quest, a call to action, and she would be compelled to volunteer her soul.
We'll see.
We're gonna roll a charisma check.
Yeah.
Not good. I mean, I think this is
Yeah.
This is ...
So she doesn't take your threat well, clearly she's taking it seriously, right? You've got an army of undead surrounding her castle. But this notion of like, I can just pay you some souls and it'll be fine, she's not
I think
buying.
maybe it just doesn't. It's like she doesn't get what I mean. What I don't know. She doesn't. That's not on the table in her mind, right? She doesn't even understand. She can't even comprehend what's being proposed.
Yeah, it's so it's so out of left field for her. It's like, what? Huh? So
totally different level. So does she attack? Does she retreat? Does she like say something? Does she curse me in the name of her false gods?
She has words for you.
I guess
certainly.
I wouldn't call them false gods, but
your name, sir. What is it?
Mal suffer winter. Call out across the field. And
Well, Lord Malcifer, I will not give you any of my people. I will not give you any of my lands. If you want them, you must take them. But I warn you, we are well prepared. We are ready to fight. Go somewhere else. Find some other piece of the world to call your own. For Eridon shall never let you stand.
she still speaks of Eridon. All right. How far away are they?
50 feet?
Did they fly out a white flag? Did you say they?
No.
Yeah. How fast are ghouls? They're on horseback, right? We wouldn't catch them.
No, there's no way your ghouls would catch them. But let's figure out that question anyway. Your ghouls have movement 12.
You know that zombie. 12? Okay.
Yeah, and they cannot swim, but they can climb.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Then I think she turns tail and rides back to the keep.
Yes.
And I think.
Ooh, hold on. Let me give her like an honor check or something like that. Yeah. When she gets back to the keep, their archers are going to open fire directed at Malcifer.
We're retreating. So, maybe should we roll initiative to see how long before I'm in long range and then out of range?
Good idea. Give me a D10.
Oh, when she gets back to the keep?
Yeah,
okay.
she gets back to the keep and gives like a shout and a wave to.
I roll a 4.
Oh, they rolled a 4 too.
They take up.
They'll get one volley.
Shots.
Yeah, they'll get one volley at you at medium range. And I'll roll this one publicly. 16d20.
16?
There's 16 archers. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You have what AC?
15 AC.
All right, so they need to beat a 15. They get +2 for back attack, -2 for medium range. So I think it's just 16d20 greater than 15 is the roll. 8 successes, including 1 crit. Ooh, so that's gonna be, we'll do 7d6, and then we'll do 2d6.
Okay, so
for the crit.
The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those are ignored. So we're looking at
11 damage.
11 points of damage, which every single point of that is going to get extracted from this poor Lord citizens.
So that burns through your entire spirit armor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the army retreats, but we're going. I think the church is where we saw everyone gathering.
What church?
The church bells were ringing, correct?
Oh yeah, in the village. But the church bells have been ringing in the village.
So are the people gathered in the church?
No, the people have been fleeing. Yeah, they were taken off.
I mean, so I think with the armies turning around, leaving the keep, and marching into town or back down.
Oh my god!
Right.
All right, the moment she sees your army turn and head for the village, the gates are thrown open and 100% of their riders come charging out for you.
How many is that?
It's not a lot. It's her, 4 knights, and then just like a couple of regular soldiers thrown onto horseback because they don't have the manpower to fully do this.
Yeah, Malcifer jogs and disappears amongst his undead.
They won't find you.
Crouches low and and I mean, so the command was given to fall back to the village, and then when the gates open, the riders come. There's a turn, set firmly to receive charge, so you deal double damage.
They set their bones to receive charge. And this is going to be a pretty quick slaughter. There's no way these 5 knights and a few normal people are going to survive the swarm of skeletons. They'll just sort of be absorbed and ripped to shreds, but they will take some with them.
Yeah, so let's roll a couple rounds of combat, right?
Yeah.
You can pretend. Why don't you pretend this knight is a lovely PC who has just accepted the quest and charged bravely head first into the undead horde?
I should get like random people from chat to come and play these like knights that whose villages you're attacking, and have them make their own negotiations and try and fight you. It almost sounds fun. Yeah, I know the first person would immediately be like, nope, I'm joining with Malcifer. That's fine. I want to play more.
I kneel before you, Lord. Teach me your ways. How do I become a necromancer?
Yeah, I don't think it would work. Anyway.
Join the dark side. Okay. How many knights did you say? Against?
There are her and 4 knights. So 5 total, including herself.
And I think there are endless waves of skeletons, so
many skeletons. But I think she gets first attack because she's charging in, right? Against melee?
Yeah, so I think she can do like an overrun with her horse. Mm-hmm. But we can also like take opportunity attacks with spears as she charges into...
Oh, yeah. So here she comes, lance in hand. Technically a piercing weapon that does half damage to skeletons, but does double on a charge, so it's a wash. And her first roll is a 14 plus a whole bunch of other stuff, so that's definitely a hit on the skeleton.
Blows up the skeleton.
Yeah. What is a lance? Oh, I need a new sticky pad. Lance is basically just a spear, right? Oh, here, no, it's 2d4 damage. Yeah. It is a spear. Okay. 2d8 when charging from horseback. Got it.
So 1d8 then, right?
I mean, 2d8 divided by 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 8 and 6 is 14 divided by 2 is 7 damage. Plus her strength bonus will, that'll kill one skeleton, crush it immediately.
And her horse makes some overruns, I think, as skeletons return fire. How many skeletons do you think are in range? Like 4 spearmen, maybe?
Oh yeah, I mean she's charging into the whole swath of army.
Yeah. So how many get attacks?
Probably 5 or 6. Let's call it 6 for now. But your defenders get attacks of opportunity and need to make saves versus paralyzation or be knocked down.
Oh, save versus... Okay, we can call it...
Yeah, but they get their attacks of opportunity regardless of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it's probably 2 successes, 2 hits.
Yeah.
Skeletons fight a +1.
Save versus paralyzation, poison, and death magic is a 14 for a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 pass. The others all will take 2d4 because they take double damage of overrun. So 8.
Oh.
5, 2, 5.
So 1 more dead skeleton.
Mm-hmm. Some wounded ones.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make your attacks against her.
Yeah. How many is that?
That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All 6 again? Yeah. 60, 20. They're at +2, right? And she has 17 AC?
Yes.
So we're looking for a 15 or higher?
Yes.
0 successes.
Her 3 knights behind her also run into various sections of the army, colliding. I mean, they're all trying to like do like a V, so they can hopefully hit the same people over and over again.
Oh yeah.
So the one on the left comes with his lance with a 13, 14, 15, like definitely a hit. The other one misses. The last one scrollers a natural 20. So the one that didn't crit deals 6 damage. Divided by 2 is 3.
Skeleton.
Sure,
right?
It finishes 1. The one that scores a natural 20 definitely destroys 1 skeleton with the lance. No questions asked.
Oops.
And then we need some more overruns. Maybe
2 more rounds of 6, or is it the same? Probably the same group, right?
Well, I think she goes down the middle, and then each of them gets like half of it on the side. So let's do 3 more for each other, right? Oh, no, you're right. 6 more.
Sure.
Yeah. I like it. 6 per.
1,
That's the right way to
2
do it.
3 passes, 2 more knocked down, and how much damage?
2d4 to each that gets knocked down.
Okay, it's probably not injuring some more.
Yeah, injuring a few more. Not quite killing. That was for the second night, right?
Yeah.
This is second night, so there's still third and fourth night. So roll me another set of saves.
So this should be greater than 14. So that was
Right.
none.
Oh,
Oops.
God. And then these are attacks right here.
No, those are.
That's the other set of
I
saves.
just rolled all
Okay.
my saves at once. So,
Okay, perfect.
So roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can say some of those were duplicates at this point, right? So
I think, yeah, every skeleton should be hit by at least 2 riders.
Okay.
So I think 6.
Is that 9 more deaths?
Yeah, I think we have 12 dead total after this first charge in.
Yes. Yeah.
But at this point, the skeletons can just surround.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I send the ghouls in, and I'd say bring them down alive.
Mhm.
Surround them, bring them down alive, and the skeletons sort of circle around. Then I think the ghouls can creep their way to the front or climb. They climb their way to the front over the tops of the skeletons
Oh my
and
god.
get in there and make some paralyzation attacks.
Have the ghouls attack first, because their paralyzation is the most important.
Yeah, I've got 3 ghouls. They don't provoke OAs by making touch attacks, right? Is that
No,
that's not
no, they're monsters.
or whatever.
Yeah.
What is a ghoul's hit bonus? Ghoul's hit bonus is, why am I not seeing this? +3. So rolling 3d20. Is it +3? So we're looking at greater than 14.
But they're on horseback, which actually gives them a penalty to AC from when they're not moving actively.
Okay. So the 7 will miss, the 20 and the 19 are crits.
Oh my god. Well, yep. Roll me. What is ghoul damage?
Only d4, but they have to make saves versus paralyzation.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, Nameless Knight number 1 fails. Nameless Knight number 2, 11 is probably a fail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're only 3rd level. They need to be 5th level to pass that. So they get paralyzed.
They're paralyzed, and I think passed through the army, from skeleton to skeleton back to Malcifer.
Oh, so you're like dragging them. You're not killing them.
Yeah, so I think they're stunned by the ghouls and then dragged from horseback by the skeletons, and
Yes.
yeah.
All right, the 2 of them.
So maybe the knights get surrounded and they go down fighting. Was that their plan? They were like, not the villagers, and they made one last final run.
Suicide by cop. Yeah. That's what's going on here. They're paying the sacrifice, but they're not doing it willingly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So those 2 ghouls, the ghouls will have to keep... They can keep auto-hitting, I think. So these guys will have to keep making paralyzation checks to see if they can not be stunned.
Yeah, I think
round.
one check around maybe seems fair. So
Yeah.
the ghouls, I guess, will be the ones that bring them to me, and the ghouls will hold them down while I drain their HP.
Right. So for now, there's still going to be combat going on with some riders and the lead knight. We're going to ignore that for a moment, and we're just going to focus on what's happening with the ghouls. So the ghouls and the skeletons drag 2 knights to Malcifer. They're paralyzed the first round, but they pass their saves on the second. So as they get to you, they begin to flail and struggle and reach for sidearms, but there's hundreds of bony arms on them, so...
If this were a PC, you'd give them a strength check or something to break free from the skeleton's grasp.
Exactly. Right? Can you give me a strength check for your skeletons at plus... maybe like 4? I bet there's like 4 skeletons on a person, so a strength check at plus 3. Yeah. That
I think
seems fair.
skeletons have 14 strength. Let me check.
Do believe they have 13? 13 or 14?
13 is, yeah.
The warriors have 14 and 15. Yeah.
All right, so D20 plus 13 plus 3. 24 is a pass, but not great. If
the first one rolls a natural 20 on the strength check. Okay. And the second one rolls an 8 and 15 is 13.
Good.
23.
Good, but not good enough to break free. But one of them breaks free and
grabs a weapon.
He goes running, he grabs a weapon and attacks a skeleton.
He's going for Malcifer. The skeletons dragged him to his quarry. This is his chance. So we're going to ignore the guy that's being grabbed by the skeletons, and let's do initiative for the 6 skeletons the 4 skeletons on this guy and Malcifer and this guy. This guy is a middle-aged man.
Ghouls, right?
Oh, right, and the 1 ghoul on this person. Perfect.
There's 1 on him. Where's the 3rd ghoul?
Probably attacking. I think he's still attacking with the unparalyzed.
Someone. Yeah. Or maybe a horse. I said spare the horses too. So maybe there's a stunned horse.
All right, this guy gets a 13 on initiative.
Oh, we're doing including weapon speed?
Then he gets an 8 without. It doesn't really matter. I don't think he's gonna last.
Yeah.
Let's do it without for simplicity.
Yeah. Well, 5. Okay, and then I want to roll for the ghoul as well, right? Or do we just have them all resolved first?
Roll for the ghoul. He's on a separate round, yeah.
Okay. And the ghoul is a 7.
Yeah, and yourself? Because you're also adjacent to this.
I was a 5, wasn't I?
Oh, okay. What about the skeletons then?
Okay, 1.
1. Oh my god.
The skeletons go first. But he just broke free. I think he still gets a chance to do something that round, but he doesn't get to attack.
Right, so he breaks free, and then we roll initiative, and the skeletons get to reprise.
Pursue, and Malcifer withdraws. So I think he's going to be stuck with skeletons between him and me, is how the initiative shakes out, right? And he can make an attack. I feel like he gets attacks against skeletons, but because he lost initiative,
the skeletons go first.
Or he just can't get to me without me run. Right, the skeletons are moving on after him.
Right.
He broke free, but they're I guess he could provoke OAs and run at me and attack me.
But before he gets any of that, your skeletons get a chance to act.
Oh, do they actually?
They beat him in initiative pretty badly.
Yeah, so there's 6 of them? 6 D20s. It's at least 3 hits.
At least 3. Oh, yeah. Well, definitely 3.
I think they're just grabbing at him. This is kind of a sad way to go, but I think these are like but those would provoke OAs, right?
They're just grabbing and pulling him?
Grabbing and pulling? No, let's just have those be improvised damage to bring him down.
Make some attack damage rolls.
1, 2, 3 D4s?
Yes.
One of those might even be a crit.
He's got 17 AC, so unless the 19's coming from a back attack, it should, even with a back attack, it's still
damage.
Oh, God. All right. He is low.
And a ghoul, I guess, comes in. D20 plus 3 is a 16. Is there any chance? Do you want to roll like a 1D or like?
Yeah, give me a 1D8 for his positioning. 1 is in front, 4 is in back.
Okay.
7 is going to be front and left, so no back attack. So that scrapes against the armor.
Misses, right?
Our brave knight sees Malcifer disappearing into a horde of skeletons.
Bring that one to me! And I shout to the ghoul who has subdued his other companion.
The knight will provoke all the OAs as he tries to push his way through the skeletons. Give me, I don't know, like 10 attacks against him.
Right?
Yeah, 1 ghoul and 10 skeletons as they try and drag him down or rip him to shreds.
Okay, so there's skeletons.
2 hits.
Looks like only 2 hits. Are 2d4. Oops. Are.
He's at 8 HP right now. You bring him down to 3.
And then the ghoul.
With the slash.
No. 13 miss. So he wades through the.
Shove skeletons aside. They scrape at him. They claw. They draw blood. He brings his sword up and down in a slashing motion at you, Malcifer, with a natural 20 to hit. Modify. He's got his level 3, so +2, +1 for specialization. It's a modified 23. Does he hit you? Does he crit you?
You killed me.
Is it a
Not
single?
Like this, Neal.
Is it 2d8 damage against you? 2d8 +2.
Why would it be +2? You're saying it's specialist?
Specialist, yeah.
Shit. I mean, yeah, I've got a chain. It's 15 AC.
He rolls a 23. So that is a single crit.
Went first and hadn't acted. So I think it's only right that I should have gotten an attack first, or at least to defend myself.
Right.
Or total defense.
What were you going to do with your turn? You said you moved back and shouted.
I wanted to drain life from these knights, and one of them woke up mid-drain life.
Oh, I see.
So I guess maybe I've started draining life on the other one, and he interrupts it.
All right, well, how quickly do you drain life?
It's like 1 every 2, isn't it? 1 every 2.
HP drains at a rate of 2 per round, so you gain 1 HP per round. Okay. Sure, so you've gained 1 HP by like...
That was what set him off anyway. Okay, so I'm still only at 7. 15 AC, right?
15 AC, yep.
So
23 is definitely a crit.
So it rolls 2d8.
It's
I mean, I guess, yeah. I guess I'll probably live, but what are these poor skeletons going to do while I'm unconscious?
Well, but won't you bleed to death?
Oh, maybe.
Well, we'll find out.
I'm currently draining life. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a heavy hit into Malcifer's body, and he goes down in the army of skeletons around him. This poor knight will definitely die. He's at, what did we say, 2 HP by the time he gets to you?
Oh, my Poltergeist should have been spawning and intercepting, but Poltergeist is even still up.
It is up.
It's enacted.
Yeah.
With HP. Should have blocked that attack.
How would it block it, though? The attack could go right through the Poltergeist. Maybe it could give him a penalty to hit, but that's still, even if it's a penalty of 2, it's still a crit.
Yeah, so Malcifer loses consciousness. In the next volley, I think this knight who's got like 1 HP is going to go down. Yeah,
he's definitely going to go down. You can go ahead and make 8 attacks around him, because you've got him surrounded by skeletons and ghouls. He's definitely going to die here.
Yeah, shooting a crit.
Yeah.
How much HP did he have?
2.
Oh, God. So 7 minus... So I'm brought to -8, and I think there's... Can the Poltergeist... Is the Poltergeist smart enough to come material and bandage me? It's sunlight, so it may even, like...
It has simple intelligence, which is the same as your skeleton warriors. Can it bandage you? Oh.
Like with the dying command. There's no way to even be... Yeah, I'm just going to bleed out here without anyone living to...
Without a living body nearby, without a Lilith to protect you.
I'm like... I brought down as I'm clutching this guy, draining life from him. But I guess that's a bit much to try and argue that would...
That the drain life continues even while you're dying?
The first 3 ghoul attacks never roll damage, chat says. I don't want to retcon at this point. I think Malcifer loses consciousness and we're at the mercy of our DM here. It's a cool, the crit that never rolled damage, yeah.
The ghouls never roll damage on their hits? Are we sure about that?
I see the
3d20 for their hits. One of them, I mean, they're 2 crits, right? So they should have done 2d4 damage on those crits. I don't see any 2d4 damage rolls in here. That would definitely have killed the knight.
And I am standing. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. That
was the end of my thought. It would have killed the knight had we rolled that damage. Yeah. How do we feel about the correcting a mistake 3 rounds ago that changes the outcome of the game?
I don't know if that's the way to play. I mean, that's not how I wouldn't retcon. Like you are.
I wouldn't retcon either. We never retcon. We just live with our mistakes.
I mean, yeah. Do we want to go to a break and chat off stream, or are we deciding something now?
Let's make a decision now.
Okay.
Why don't you? What would be the most fun and interesting way to do this? Roll the ghoul damage. Let's just see what it is. Let's get all of our information out here.
Ghoul D4, so it was one. There were 2 ghoul attacks against him, right? Did either of them receive D4 damage?
This guy got crit by a ghoul on the first ghoul attack, so he should take 2d4.
20.
It was 20 plus 3, 23 against 17 AC, and against 16 AC. Yeah, he's definitely crit.
There was no 2d4 after that. Okay.
Right.
So 2d4 damage.
Yeah.
Is 3. Is that his HP?
Yeah, he has 2 HP, so he was definitely going down by a good margin, by a margin. And let's see, there were the 10 attacks, including the second ghoul that tried to strike at him, which was rolled a 13 plus 2 for back attack would make a 15. That's still not going to hit. None of these attacks with plus 2 would hit.
Initiative. We were kind of all. I mean, I'm kind of okay with him wading through this. Let him be the hero, right? He wades through the skeletal army and gets his crit off on Malcifer, who goes down.
Yeah, I think this all works. I think he goes down, and Malcifer is in the middle of draining this other knight's life.
Right, like,
the real ruling here is, does the Malcifer, while he's like dying, continue draining life? Because if so,
or does the fact that you're getting healed while you dropped, does that like stabilize you? It's a weird instance. Like, how often do you need to? Usually you would. I don't know. Does it interrupt healing? Because
gaining life from any source from magical healing brings you to 1 HP when you're below. So if you're draining life when you're hit, does it just drop you to like stable at 0? I think that sort of makes sense because you're actively like, you're pulling things out of you. So you get hit by this blow and fall to the ground while you're gaining life. I think you're dropped stable at 0 in the middle of the horde of undead.
Yeah, and do you think a roll would even be required, or it's just like you're healing while you go? That seems, I don't want it to be in balance. You can like be healing someone to keep them, right? Like if you're casting a Cure Light Wound spell on someone the same round, they get reduced to negatives. Would you rule that they're stable?
I think they're stable. I think that imagine a situation where there's like someone who's like partially in a fire, and the cleric can't pull them out of the fire, but they can just keep channeling a healing spell so that the flames burn and heal back and forth, and it's sort of like this weird, like some sort of purgatory where you're got 1 foot in heaven and 1 foot in hell at the same time. I think that's the situation we run into, where Malcifer's
I think if we don't want Malcifer to die here, there's plenty of hand-wavy ways to or narratively make this make sense. Right?
Yeah, I think you go down conscious or unconscious, but stable. That one knight gets ripped to shreds. The other knights will eventually die too. They will take out some number of your creatures, and then your army will... The part that was fighting the knights will stand over your body, because that's the last action that they had, while those that weren't fighting the knights continue on to the village.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we take a break here, now that we've sorted this out? And we will come back on the other side with some more Dicing with Death.